Tonight on CFTK-TV News, impacts of copper tariffs in northern BC. A 12-year-old boy escapes an abduction attempt. And Pierre Polivier is on a comeback tour.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello and thanks for joining us on this Thursday, August 21, 2025. I'm Helen Asante. We will begin tonight with news that's local to the Northwest. First, we take a look at the discussion surrounding copper tariffs and how, in an unconventional way, they could end up helping northwestern BC. CFTK's Kil Maslin explains further.
Donald Trump's rampant tariffs have affected many different industries, and while northwestern BC's most recent concern has been the increase in duties on softwood lumber, another important item is copper. Copper is used in the making of so many different items, from vehicles to plumbing pipes to wind turbines and even clothing, because it works very well as a thermal and electricity conductor while also being resistant to corrosion. We recently spoke with the CEO of a precious metals explorer and developer called American Pacific Mining Corp., who explained why the tariffs on that particular item will not be damaging to northwestern BC.
What typically happens is you're gonna from BC or Alaska or wherever geographically, but you're gonna ship this unrefined product. 99% of the time you're shipping it over to China, and then it's being shipped back as a refined product. None of that product will be affected by these tariffs. That's really sort of the key piece here.
Warwick Smith also highlighted the ways that Trump's decision to implement these tariffs could actually end up being a benefit for mines in BC and Canada as a whole.
It shone a big spotlight on what insiders have kind of known for a while, is that the world needs a hell of a lot more copper than it has access to. And so for those mines in places like Terrace, you're making a domestic product that Canada needs quite desperately. And if there's one thing that Canada needs to do better of, it's trade within its internal borders, right, between its different provinces. Copper is not excluded from that, right? And having it domestically made is by far the best solution. This second coming of Donald Trump has been one of the best things to happen to Canada, because it's made us look internally and say, how do we do better here, right? Because your number one trade partner is unreliable. Now you've got premiers talking to each other. Okay, how do we remove all these trade barriers between these different provinces, right? You've got the Prime Minister of Canada talking about it. The stronger we are insular within our own borders, that makes us a stronger trade partner, because if you're able to trade within your own country, you can drive your price up, and you can drive a much harder bargain when you're looking outside the country as well.
But despite the positives, Warwick Smith expects that copper prices will dramatically increase in the future regardless of what happens with the tariffs, because it's a very in-demand item and there will need to be a lot more of it to keep up with said demand. For CFTK TV News, I'm Kil Maslin.
Locally at the Northwest Regional Airport, flights were not affected by the Air Canada strike. The airport flies with Jazz Aviation, a regional airline that operates flights under the Air Canada Express brand. Jazz Aviation continued to operate as normal through the service disruption, and no flights in and out of Northwest Regional Airport were cancelled. Air Canada and its union agreed to a tentative deal this week that would also see more senior members get an 8% pay bump. More than 10,000 flight attendants will begin voting next week on the agreement that not only raises wages but establishes a pay structure for time worked when aircraft are on the ground. Prime Minister Mark Carney had a productive phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump earlier today. The Prime Minister's office released a statement saying the leaders discussed current trade challenges and opportunities while agreeing to, quote, reconvene shortly. A dispute on Tuesday afternoon on the top floor of a BC housing complex escalated, leading to a man dead. CTV's Kevin Charash reports.
Lori Pod says her dog alerted her that something was very wrong.
My dog was really upset. She could hear the fighting.
Tuesday afternoon, a dispute on the top floor of this BC housing complex escalated quickly.
I heard a woman scream, and she yelled that she was going to call the cops, and then I heard another dude yell back saying go ahead and call the cops.
So there's a lot of bad blood between the neighbors, and I guess he had enough.
Investigators say the man had a weapon, though they haven't said what kind.
When the cops showed up, maybe like 5 minutes after, they went into the building, and then after maybe about 20 seconds after they went into the building, I heard 5 or 6 gunshots go off.
Once officers arrived, they encountered one man who was reportedly in possession of a weapon at the time. That led to an interaction, and that man was shot by police. He later died at the scene.
The IIO says the other person involved in the dispute suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The Independent Investigations Office is now determining if officers were at fault. This marks the first VPD officer-related shooting of the year.
Horrified. I'm absolutely horrified. Somebody's dead. Just because neighbors can't get along, somebody's dead now, and that's really unfortunate.
The IIO says it's in the early stages of its investigation and is asking anyone with information or video footage to come forward. VPD confirmed to CTV News that officers were wearing body cameras. Body cameras, of course, were rolled out to members of the force earlier this year, and I've been told that the cameras have been turned over to investigators. Kevin Chirac, CTV News, Vancouver.
Coming up next, a young boy escaped adoption. Passengers are beginning to finally get flights after being grounded by the Air Canada strike. Have a look.
The journey ending in Toronto. Passengers arriving after the strike's end with a sigh of relief.
We had to call Air Canada yesterday just to make sure the flights are still on track, and I guess we were lucky.
As they get planes off the ground and in the air, Air Canada is aiming to return to 80% of capacity, but many of those arriving are feeling
tired, frustrating, but at least they got us where we wanted to be.
After the 3-day strike, direct flights have been hard to find. A canceled flight for Sima Pillay was supposed to be Vancouver to Toronto, but changed to
From Surrey, driving to Seattle, Seattle to St. Louis, staying there for 8 hours, then coming through over here, Toronto Airport.
For those trying to get home,
not great, I can't lie. Not looking forward to it.
Christopher Field and Sophia Stevens had a direct flight to the United Kingdom.
Now it was Ottawa to Toronto, Toronto to Lisbon, Lisbon to Porto, and Porto to Gatwick. So we've got quite a few connections to make.
We were told that if we don't get this flight, then we won't be home until September the 3rd.
Christina Robertson was supposed to fly Toronto to Edinburgh on Saturday, instead spending 4 days here trying to book another flight.
And every time I'd click on a flight to try and change the flight, it said, no, this is no longer available. Phone Air Canada. And when I phoned Air Canada, they said they had so many calls that they couldn't take any more, and the call was terminated.
Now a longer journey with a stop in Montreal and Dublin before getting home to Scotland, and frustration for the 4 extra days in the city.
It's going to take me about 6 months to be able to kind of pay it all off and save up.
Air Canada says they will cover some costs as they try to lift up their damaged reputation.
So what we've done is we're telling people we're going to reimburse you, if you want to book a flight on your own on another carrier.
But at this point, of the over 500,000 customers that were affected, it's unclear who will qualify.
A 12-year-old boy escaped from a kidnapper in the Corpus Crossing neighborhood of Airdrie. CTV's Jordan Canigan reports.
It was near this area in the Coopers Crossing neighborhood of Airdrie. A 12-year-old boy escaped from a kidnapper.
There are numerous youth, ages 12, 13, so quite young, that have been involved in a catch the predator scheme. So apparently this is a new scheme on social media.
Police say the boy was part of a group of between 6 and 10 teenagers who arranged to meet a man in a vigilante sting to expose child predators.
These are very hard to prosecute. It puts these people, these kids in this incident, in extremely high-risk, dangerous situations without backup training, justification, and backup. It's amazingly dangerous what happened in this incident.
Investigators say the teens met the man on Snapchat and it was caught on video. Police say the boy willingly got into the vehicle, but the man drove away with the child. The boy was able to escape a short time later. Multiple teens and other witnesses called 911 and police tracked the suspect to northeast Calgary.
This has not been done before here in Airdrie. In my service time of 23 years, I haven't been involved in a similar investigation where we have somebody setting up to catch a predator or anything along those lines. This is a very unique incident.
37-year-old Zane Merchant of Calgary is facing numerous charges, including kidnapping, sexual interference, and breach of conditions. He does have a history with police.
This offender is known to the ICE unit. We've had more than one investigation and file with this offender, which again speaks to the dangerous and high-risk nature of meeting strangers, conversing with strangers.
Jordan Cadigan, CTV News, Airdrie.
Next, we will take a look at your Northwest weather report. Tonight on the North Coast, expect conditions to be partly cloudy, fog patches developing after midnight, low 12 degrees. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, then straight sunshine for the weekend. Daily highs around 18 or 19 degrees. Overnight lows around 11 or 12 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace Kitimat area, expect the clouds to clear out this evening and winds from the north at 20 kilometers per hour after midnight, low at 10 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace Kitimat area, expect warm conditions to continue with sunshine and daily highs between 25 and 27 degrees. Overnight lows between 11 and 13 degrees. Tonight in the Barkley Valley and Lakes District is looking partly cloudy with fog patches developing before morning, low +3 degrees with a risk of frost. Over the next few days in the Barkley Valley and Lakes District, expect sunny skies as well, with daily highs between 25 and 29 degrees, overnight lows between 7 and 9 degrees. Let's now take a look at your highways around the Northwest. On Highway 16, construction in Prince Rupert, detour in effect, bridge maintenance, road maintenance, utility work, shoulder maintenance, paving operations. On Highway 37, crack sealing, mowing, bridge construction, roadside brushing and sweeping. And on Highway 37A, paving operations, fallen rocks, Niska Highway, road construction. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province highway comes. Still to come, Poilievre outlines public safety action plan. Pierre Poilievre's comeback tour, his first news conference since winning a by-election calling for tougher penalties for extortion crimes. CTV's Rolf Batham reports.
It may not have been a roaring crowd, but it was the first stop on federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's comeback tour. His first news conference since winning a by-election, being elected back to the House of Commons Monday. In Surrey, hitting at one of his favorite themes, crime and attacking Prime Minister Carney.
He sent his MPs home for the summer with crime up, inflation up, the deficit up, and elbows down.
Poilievre calling for tougher penalties for extortion crimes that have riddled South Asian businesses in Surrey. He also wants to see the Lawrence Bishnoi gang that's linked to those crimes deemed a terrorist organization.
The Bishnoi gang has been terrorizing communities, shooting up neighborhoods, extorting our people, and taking the money out of our country.
The provincial NDP support tougher gang laws and is also pushing for listing Bishnoi as a terrorist group.
We can get that designation. It helps us and our law enforcement have tools that are stronger to go after this type of organized crime.
Poilievre is facing a leadership review in January. After failing to win the spring election despite a huge lead in the polls months earlier, the pressure is on for a strong performance when Parliament resumes next month.
Poilievre has really signaled he's hitting the road running. He's not going to wait and just let it be quiet for the next 3 or 4 weeks before Parliament resumes. And I expect it'll be a scrappy fall session.
As for the choice of BC,
some of the issues he's dwelling on in law and order, I think he feels they'll play well here.
The federal Conservatives' provincial counterpart agrees.
Got a lot of big issues in BC, and BC, quite frankly, can be a linchpin in terms of many of the national issues that need to be addressed.
With Surrey being ground zero for extortion, gang violence, and public safety, a reality not lost on Canada's most recently elected MP.
An angry welcome for 3 of Donald Trump's top officials as they walked into Union Station to greet the newly arrived members of the National Guard. CTV's Judy Trin shares more.
An angry welcome for 3 of Donald Trump's top officials as they walked into Union Station to greet members of the National Guard. This week, hundreds of soldiers arrived from Republican states to carry out the president's orders.
We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence and by disorder and by chaos.
The voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city.
But the organizers of this demonstration are from D.C.
We're under a military occupation of our city. This is fascism, this is racism, it's directly targeting Black and brown and working class communities in D.C.
Last week, the president declared a crime emergency in Washington. Trump then took over the local police force and called in the National Guard. The White House says in that time, more than 40 homeless encampments have been dismantled and about 500 people have been arrested. Some of the tense moments were captured on social media. The crimes range from driving under the influence to assault and murder. Others are detained for being in the U.S. illegally.
Sometimes our mere presence has a deterrent effect on criminal activity, and that's really what we're trying to provide.
The guards are patrolling tourist areas and subway stations. The mayor says crime has dropped and there's no need for Trump to take over D.C.
Crime has gone down in our city, and it has gone down precipitously over the last 2 years because of a lot of hard work.
By law, Trump can only use the National Guard for 30 days without congressional approval. But the president has already said he wants an extension to his emergency order. Judy Trin, CTV News, Washington, D.C.
Turning to the markets now, strength in the basic materials sector helped Canada's main stock index close higher, while U.S. market lost ground. The Canadian dollar down over 1/10 cent. The price of gold dropped $6.90. Oil sees an increase of 81 cents. Natural gas up 4 cents. Aluminium down $5.50. TXX up 177 points. Venture index up 19 points, Dow Jones down 153 points, and Nasdaq down 73 points. Still ahead, a kindness that inspires creativity. Currently, there are about 60 active wildfires burning in BC, with only 2 in the province's northeast listed as out of control. The cost of a popular breakfast staple has gone up considerably, and that's causing Canadian consumers to choose other choices. CTV's Kathy Lee explains.
At
At this Santerra grocery store in Calgary, U.S. orange juice bottles cling to a tiny slice of shelf space. Demand for the drink drying up over time. Canadians no longer seem as sweet on the OJ as they once were.
I drink less orange juice.
We're finding it a little bit on the pricey side.
It's a little bit too acidic for me, so for health reasons, we've cut down on that.
The changing consumer habits, one of the reasons U.S. orange juice imports into Canada hit a record low in June in more than 20 years, according to new U.S. data.
Per capita consumption in North America has more than halved in the last 20 years.
Supply issues in states like Florida because of disease and extreme weather, and retaliatory tariffs on U.S. citruses and orange juice also contributing factors.
We're clearly feeling the impact of the steel and aluminum tariffs. These retaliatory tariffs were intended to do the same thing to the U.S.
At the Bridgeland grocery store, the owner says some shoppers are branching out, thirsty for something new.
Mango juice or pineapple juice, stuff that is more of a different price point.
While desire for the U.S. imported option dwindles, at Santerra, it's the opposite for the tangy juice, freshly squeezed right from the fruit.
We are seeing an increase on a per customer basis.
Jose Lomelli says thanks to oranges imported from other countries,
Egypt, Morocco, Zimbabwe.
These bottles of citrus sunshine still affordable.
This is the best orange juice.
With fresh becoming more popular and a plethora of other juices available.
Orange mango juice that's organic. I can get guava juice.
It's uncertain if U.S. OJ can squeeze its way back into shopping carts in the future or will peel out of the picture. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
A man's act of creative kindness is inspiring a sense of sanctity. With Adam Sawaski.
Roger Barker was looking forward to exchanging a book at one of the little free libraries that had been erected round his neighborhood when he found it vandalized.
Some person had thrown a burning book in it.
Well, then Roger discovered another nearby book exchange was damaged too.
Glass all over the floor.
Followed by a third little library that was destroyed.
All that was left of it was a stump.
Roger says he felt frustrated at first, heartbroken, and then, unexpectedly, inspired.
And I thought, if I can do something here, I will.
The thing was, Roger had never fixed anything like this before.
Got basically a drill, a few screwdrivers.
Not only did he lack knowledge, he had little space to attempt something so substantial.
My mind was muddled on, I'm going to achieve this.
But after getting some support from a couple friends and neighbors, Roger went to work on his apartment patio, fixing the first two libraries, before spending 6 weeks constructing a third one from scratch.
I don't know. I just did,
But more than build a simple box for books, Roger figured out how to attach a shingle to a peaked roof and hang a hinged door with a glass front before embellishing it with inspiration.
If music be the food of love, play on.
A musical quote from Shakespeare that can be accompanied by a piano Roger placed in the little library's attic.
Got a handle on the other side, played a little tune.
There's also a sign that says, where flowers bloom, so does hope.
And hope is my wife's middle name. So she gives me hope.
But more than hope, Roger's acts of creative kindness are inspiring a sense of certainty in these online community pages that, like a choose-your-own-adventure book, we can decide to make a story that begins with destruction and with the creation of something even better.
Anything is achievable.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
That's our news for now. For more local news, you can visit us at CFTK-TV.com. Thanks for watching.